What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today is another installment of Macro Monday here on the channel where I review a beer from a macro brewery or a macro-esque beer from a craft brewery. And the beer I'm reviewing today comes from Stella Artois, and they are under the AB InBev umbrella, and they are headquartered in Leuven, Belgium, and this is their Stella Artois. So they're calling this one a premium lager, a beer that comes in at 5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. At the time of review, I don't know exactly how old this can is. Yes, it can. However, it does have a best by date of April 26th of 2025, and they probably give about a year best by date. So if I was a betting man, I would guess that this is just under 3 months old. However, no matter what, we should be good to go. So, good old Stella. Now, I'm pretty confident the vast majority of you have either had this beer or have heard about this beer. Myself, full disclosure, I've had it numerous times before. However, I have not had it probably in the past 5 years. This is one of those fancy European imported beers. Yes, and a lot of the beer drinking folks that are watching this review right now in Europe are like, that's fancy. Yeah, this and Heineken, they're fancy lagers that we pay a premium for them here in the US. However, a couple different things about this specific can in this review in general. From the last time I had it, there's going to be differing, I shouldn't say different opinions, but there's going to be some differences in general. Number one, I have never had this from the can. I've always had it in the bottle or on a draft, so that's going to be interesting. And number two, shout out to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Dan, who about a month ago in the comment section of, I forget, was it the Molson Canadian review I did? I think it was the Molson Canadian review I did. He mentioned that they now brew this in the US for the US market, and I had no idea. And I did a little bit of research, and sure enough, in 2021, they moved production of this for specifically American market to America. And it even says on the side of the label here, brewed in the USA under the strict supervision of the brewmasters from Leuven, Belgium, for uncompromising quality. And it even says over here, brewed in the USA, Stella Artois, St. Louis, Missouri. I think they brewed at a bunch of different locations. Anheuser-Busch headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri. So listen, I'm not a Stella drinker in terms of like, I drink this beer all the time. I've had it, a handful of times before. So I'm not going to be able to sit here and tell you the differences between this and what I drank 5+ years ago. However, I'm curious to see if it's any different based on my memory. But yeah, and IBU ratings. I found a wide range of IBU ratings from 12 to 30. IBU ratings don't really matter as much, but I always like throwing them in the beginning of the video. But this is somewhere between 12 to 30 IBUs. I would say probably in the middle range. I think Untappd had listed at 24 IBUs. A couple other places, 18. One said 30, one said 12. So anyway, we're going to crack this one open and get in the glass. Now, I don't have the Stella Artois chalice that you always see this one poured in. Mine actually broke many years ago. So I'm using this Ommegang glass, a similar shape, not exact, a little bit smaller too as far as the vessel is concerned. However, we should be fine. Now, this is a big 25 fluid ounce can, so I'm probably going to spill this everywhere. So I'm going to need some Bounty paper towels momentarily. Just, here we go. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, see what I'm saying? When it comes to these big ass cans, I just don't know what it is, but I fucking suck at it. And I will continue to suck at it until I suck at it no more. Now, let's be honest, I'm always going to suck at it, but yeah. I've tried hard pours, I've tried soft pours, I've tried everything in between. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter when it comes to these big fucking cans. Maybe I should fucking pour them off camera and save you the time. It's all over my fucking glass. This is what you come here for. Bounty. I purposely pour these beers terrible just so I get that sponsorship. Who doesn't want free Bounty paper towels, I'll pimp you guys. You are the quicker picker-upper, there's no doubt. But yeah, anyway, might as well pour some more in here and spill it everywhere because why the fuck not? Let's do that. No one cares. I don't care. You don't come into my channel for professionalism. Not in the least. You come here to see me review beers poorly, at least. That's the hope. Anyway, so I think the pour actually looks nice after I fucking spilled it and spent 2 minutes doing so. But yeah, that is a crystal clear look to it. You can see my hand through it perfectly. Hopefully it comes off on camera. But yeah, this is crystal clear. Has that straw golden kind of color to it. Just over 2 fingers of this bright white beautifully looking. I mean, it looks somewhat soap sudsy, but it also has this just fluffy, beautiful look to it. Hold up to the light. Looks fantastic. No doubt. So after a horrible pour, let's get a nose. So not a whole lot going on. There is this like grainy kind of, I wouldn't say corny, but like maybe more biscuity, but it has just like a grainy kind of malt character. There's a little bit of like orchard fruit in this one, like a touch of like an apple or pear, a little bit of citrus too, like an orange, maybe a lemon. Nah, you know what? I said orange, more like a lemon. There's a slight, getting a very slight like banana yeast ester, very slight. Yeah, it has almost like a, it almost smells like akin to like a Belgian style wit beer or like a German Hefeweizen. There's a little bit banana, coriander, and clove. Very slight though. There's also a grassy kind of earthy floral thing going on from the hops. This smells, and this is what I've always, you know, when it comes to Stella and like the aforementioned Heineken and beers like that, they're fancy here in the US. I think why they're fancy is they have a slightly different, because this is classified as a European pale lager. You'll sometimes see it as a Pilsner, but it has just a little bit more oomph to the characteristics of the beer. Where if you're comparing this to, say, like a base American adjunct lager, and you could pick any one here in the US, this has a little bit more going on with it. Which, to be fair, a lot of beer drinkers don't want that. They just want something super easy, crisp, clean, and refreshing. This has a little bit more characteristic as a whole. But yeah, it doesn't smell too bad. No skunkiness. A lot of times with the green bottles from Stella and Heineken, you know, they'd be sitting in the light for who knows how many months, and you'd get that skunkiness, and this doesn't have it. It's in a can, so it's beautiful. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. It's very, I'll be 100% honest with you. And again, I don't remember where the last time I had this and what I thought about it exactly, but this is very reminiscent of an American adjunct lager with just a little bit more flavor. That's what this is in a nutshell. Body's nice. I'd say straight up medium body. The mouthfeel, it's really crisp. It's pretty damn clean, super refreshing. So body and mouthfeel are nice for what it's supposed to be. Taste up front, grainy, slightly bready kind of malt character dives underneath the palate. After that, I get like a lemon kind of citrus character, maybe a touch of like an orange, but you know, a little bit of a like a lemon kind of rind or like zest, tip of the tongue, maybe a little bit further in. Midway through the palate, I get this nice mixture of like apple, pear, and banana. The banana is probably the apple, and the pear, probably the yeast esters, but it has like a nice kind of fruity bouquet that's not too big. It's noticeable, but it's not like over the top. Again, it's not like you're drinking a Belgian wit beer or a German Hefeweizen or something. It finishes with this floral, grassy kind of hop character, semi to full on dry, mild bitterness. This is actually decent, solid for what it is. However, here's the problem. We'll talk about it momentarily when I talk about the price point and availability. You're paying imported prices for something that is now brewed here in the US, and I think that's bullshit, personally speaking. It was fine when it was imported. You know, you're importing the beer. It costs extra money. I get why they're going to jack it up a little bit. But now this is brewed in the US, and I still see the same price point or maybe slightly less, but I shouldn't have... This beer right here shouldn't be comparable to a craft brewery 6-pack of like a lager, and it is. And we'll again talk about it momentarily, but that's the biggest contention I have with this beer. Because I'll be honest with you, this is not bad in the least. Like a lot, if you watch my channel and have watched it for many years, ever since I started doing the Macro Monday reviews, there's a lot of beers I'll return to. I'm like, oh, I hate that beer. I didn't like that beer. And I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad. When you sit down in this kind of setting and you drink this, and I think I've maybe sat down with Stella before and dissected it like once, but when you sit here and kind of dissect this beer, to me, there's nothing off with it. It doesn't have any funkiness to it. There's no skunkiness, which you could sometimes get in the green bottle. It's very clean on the palate. It's super refreshing. It's crisp. It would go down easily on a very hot day like today. So, you know, there's not much to say about it. it's just a solid, decent macro lager at this point. That's what this is. But I do like that little bit of banana, and I just took a sip there, and I got like a touch of like a coriander or a clove, some kind of phenolic yeast component that is a little bit like spicy. It's definitely has a little bit of like a Belgian influence, but you know, it's not brewed in the US, and it doesn't, you know, this is what I'll say. From what I remember this beer being, it's slightly different, but I couldn't tell you exactly what's different about this one. It's fine. It's okay. I've had much worse. I've had better, but it's fine for what it is. So price point, rating on this one. This one's a tough one to rate. I think I would typically give this back in the day when I didn't really care for lagers, like a 3 out of 5. I'm gonna go a little bit higher than that this time because I think this is solid for what it is. It's just the price point. If I factored in the price point, it'd be a lot lower. But I'm gonna give Stella. I'm gonna give it. I'll go high 3.5. I'll go 3.55. I think that's fair for what this is. 3.55 is a fair score in my opinion. It's not bad. My palate is not sitting here going, oh, this is gross. Outside of me just being a complete asshat and duffing that pour like I always do with these big fucking cans. I'm fine with what I'm drinking here. I'm fine how the review went. I don't think it's bad. But again, if you drink a lot of Stella and did here in the US before they started brewing it here, do you notice a lot of differences? Because maybe there are, and I'm just not picking up on them because, again, I didn't drink this one a ton back in the day, but yeah. So, price point availability. Availability, it's Stella. It's available everywhere. You pretty much can get this everywhere, especially in the US. Especially now it's brewed here, I'm sure. You could pretty much get it everywhere as well. Price point. I paid $3.49 for that can. Might be a little bit cheaper where you are, maybe a little bit more expensive, but $3.49 for that can. A typical American adjunct lager from a domestic brewery here, probably like under $3. So you say like $2.50 to $3. So it's 50 cents to $1 more for a single 25 fluid ounce can, or maybe 24 fluid ounces, whatever. I can't be bothered to look at the fucking can because I'm lazy. The 6-packs are $10.99 in my area, and the 12-packs are $16.99. Now those are very comparable to a lot of craft breweries. You know, some of the bigger craft breweries, like a Sierra Nevada, when they release something new, their 6-packs are typically $10.99 or $11.99 for a 6-pack or whatever they're selling. Same thing with like Sam Adams, Saranac's very comparable. Again, the bigger craft breweries, New Belgium. So the fact that they're now brewing this one in the US, it's 5%. It drinks a step above a macro lager for me. There's no way this should be $11 a 6-pack. It just shouldn't in my area. It just shouldn't be. This should be in the $8 to $9 realm, like a lot of the other ones, or maybe even lower. So the fact they still charge the imported prices for something that is no longer imported is bullshit. Like I already said it once, it's bullshit. They should reflect accordingly based on not where it's brewed and it's no longer imported. So that, I don't get angry at many things. You watch Shell, I don't get angry at many things. That kind of pisses me off, even though I probably won't drink this beer all that often. I think for people who do buy that, I think that's bullshit. And you should know that this is now brewed in the US and they're still charging an extra couple bucks a 6-pack just because it's Stella Artois. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, outside of that, do one more sip. Make sure the 3.55 is an appropriate rating. Yeah, I enjoy this one. There's no off flavors. It's inoffensive. I like that little banana kind of, you know, the yeast is doing a little bit of something here that you don't normally get in like an American adjunct lager, and I think that's cool. So if you've had this one before, once again, I'm stress this, had this one before, pre them brewing it here and post them brewing it here, what are the differences that you're tasting? Do you think the quality has went down significantly? Do you taste the change? For me, I do feel there's something different about this beer, but not in a negative way, slightly different way, but I couldn't really explain what that is because I didn't drink this one enough in the past. But I'm not upset I bought that can. Outside of the can's a bit more expensive than it should be. But yeah, anyway, another Macro Monday in the books. A couple people asked me to review Stella, and here we are. I reviewed their Midnight Lager like 4 or 5 years ago when that came out, and I found that beer not to be bad. This one, again, not bad. It's just the price point kind of pisses me off. So again, if you have this one, post in the comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. 5%, you can't tell. I'm gonna go drink the rest of this can, probably spill the fucking thing everywhere. Yeah, I'm just horrible at what I do. If you watch, you watch. If you don't, I don't blame you. To the next one. Cheers.